You can't look at that television and say nothing happened on the 6th. You can't listen to people who say this was a peaceful march.
That was President Biden at the town hall meeting by CNN commenting on the January 6th Capitol riot that happened last night in Cincinnati. If you didn't catch it, we'll catch you up. Joining us now to discuss this is Texas Congressman Chip Roy. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time here. We played a quick comment from the president. Your thoughts on that and your overall thought on the town hall?
Well, look, I mean, President Biden is, basically disregarding all of the concerns of small businesses across America who are struggling by basically saying go pay people more and not really being concerned about what the impact is on small businesses. They're paying people more not to work than to work. They're crushing small businesses while enriching large corporations like Amazon, and clearly don't really care about the will of the American people. And when you see President Biden talking about January 6th, I think it's clearly a political process that's going on right now. You cannot in any way, shape, or form come to a different conclusion than what Nancy Pelosi did. That is a politicized process where she's attacking my friend Jim Jordan, my friend Jim Banks, and saying that they shouldn't be on the committee. Well, that's a clear statement that she doesn't want to have any kind of actual bipartisan effort to seek the truth. Now, this is why, by the way, I and other Republicans opposed the establishment of this committee. My position all along has been we have standing committees who have the power to go figure out the truth. So let's start with the House Judiciary Committee, where we could call in the Attorney General, but Jerry Nadler won't do that. We're going to ask him to, and we have been asking him to, and we've sent letters to the Attorney General. We've not had any response to Republicans. So let's haul them in front of the committee, and let's talk about the 530 Americans who have been arrested or charged with crimes, and let's work backwards. What were they charged with? Why were they charged? How long have they been in jail? Where are they in jail? What kind of penalties are they facing? So let's go seek the truth wherever it may lead, and let's work backwards from the investigations currently underway that are resulting in Americans being put in jail.
Well, would this committee even stand a chance if Liz Cheney would stand with other Republicans in this regard based on the committee and what's happening with it?
Well, look, Liz is completely out of bounds, in my view, of the position she is taking, attacking fellow Republicans, and frankly, siding with Nancy Pelosi. I think she's misguided in this. I think we should be able to seek the truth through standing committees, and we should force Democrats to do that and not empower them. Look, you might remember the scene from Animal House when Dean Wormer is standing with the fraternity council and Otter and the boys are out there in the crowd. They're dealing with this sham process. That's what we're dealing with here, right? This is that sham process. I mean, this is that time when you stand up and you say, I'm not going to let you badmouth the United States of America. And gentlemen, let's walk. That's what we're doing here because we're not going to put up with that kind of garbage.
What does this look like? I love the movie reference, by the way. What does this look like, though? Nancy Pelosi blocks two of the Republicans, Jim Banks, Jim Jordan, as you know, your fellow Republicans. McCarthy pulls out his nominees. What happens if he doesn't put forth any nominees? Does it just go forth with Pelosi's committee plus Liz Cheney?
Yeah, well, look, I think that the minority leader, Kevin McCarthy, put forth a good faith effort to put forward Republicans to go seek the truth. You had someone like Kelly Armstrong, who, like myself, did not object on January 6th. We had different views on that. You had someone like Jim Jordan, who's the ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee, was the ranking member on the House Oversight Committee. Jim Banks, who is the chair of the RSC, he represents 140 Republicans in that regard. And the longstanding practices of the House is that you defer to the parties to pick who's going to be on the committees. And now they're going down this road, and they punted Marjorie from committees. Now they're coming in and saying, no, sorry, we get to choose who are on the committees. And so I think you're seeing it as what it is. We should not really put much stock in what this politicized process is going to result. And we should go do our own efforts with FOIA to push standing committees to ask for the questions that we want to have answered.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of questions. Was it a failure of security? There's a lot of questions about that day, rightfully so. Before you go from Texas, and I have to ask you about that infamous airplane photo with the Texas Democrats, the state Democrats, returning home now. Those pictured in the private jet. Remember, no mask, the case of Miller Lite, then bringing COVID to everyone in D.C., basically. What do you make of this? I've heard two returned. Your governor there has talked about they'd be facing possible arrest. Overall optics of this were to fight a state legislation against voter reform. How big of an impact did that have based on spreading COVID-19? 6 of them testing positive. They were in touch with White House aides and aides of the Speaker of the House, et cetera. What are your thoughts being from Texas on all of it?
Well, first of all, when your opposition is kind of digging their own grave, don't pull the shovel out of their hand, right? I mean, they are doing all of the things that the American people are tired of. They're seeing it in real time. This is all political. You see it, the pictures you're showing right now of Democrats on a plane fleeing Texas to go to Washington, D.C. Like, say that out loud to yourself. You're a representative of Texans, and you're supposed to be in the Texas legislature at the state capitol in Austin, and you're getting on a chartered plane to go fly to D.C. to hobnob with Kamala Harris, who, by the way, is supposed to be securing the border of the United States and is not, doesn't give a whit about that. And these Democrats come up to go, partner with Democrats to federalize elections, to say that we should pass H.R. 1 and to take power away from Texans. Yeah. Look, Texans look at this and they see it for exactly what it is. Incompetence, people who have no regard for what the interests are of the people of Texas. And, I say, look, just shine the light on what Democrats are doing and it will speak for itself. They need to get back to Texas. We're going to force them to get a quorum. Speaker Phelan, the governor, we're going to keep calling special sessions to make sure that we pass election reform, and that's what they should do.
Congressman Chip Roy of Texas, good to see you, Congressman. Thank you for your time, sir.
You too. God bless.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.